If you have an interest in horses and love learning more about horses, the horse industry, teaching, or even managing your own horse business, then you're in the right place. We would love you to join us on our mission, which is to improve the lives of horses around the world through the education of riders, handlers, and trainers. So get comfortable, listen in, and enjoy.
This has been another episode sponsored by Online Horse College. If you haven't had a look at the wide variety of equine-specific accredited courses, then go to onlinehorsecollege.com and I'll see you over there. Sophie Barrington and Archer Creative are the experts in equine marketing, and Sophie understands how to achieve success in the horse industry by providing innovative and outcome-driven marketing services that result in a dramatic difference to your bottom line. Go to horsechats.com, search for Sophie, search for Barrington, or search for Archer Creative for a bit more information about equine marketing specialists. Today's guest is Thomas, or TJ Madigan. He's at uni studying to be a vet, but while he's there, he's coaching, he's training and riding, and that's what we're going to focus on mainly today. How are you today, Thomas?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? Great.
Now, we normally start off with a favourite quote, and I know you've got one, so what can you say?
So my favourite quote is, success is no accident. It is hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, love of what you are doing or learning to do.
I love the last part, actually. It's the love of what you're learning or what you're doing. Yeah. Okay, how do you think that's helped you, in what you do with horses, in your coaching and your training and your riding? Is it that sometimes that you think, I've just got to jump on another horse, I've just got to, get out of bed early and do this? Do you find that sometimes? And then when you're actually doing it, you go, yes, it was all worth it.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. There's obviously some days that are going to be a lot harder than others, and especially within the horse industry, you're always going to have your setbacks. But if you have the desire and the perseverance and the love of what you're doing, it just makes it a lot easier to get through all those times. And just the love of what you're doing just makes it all worthwhile.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And knowing where you're headed as well, I think sometimes helps.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. Now, are you from a horse family?
I am from a horse family. So I'm, I think, third generation to the horses.
Okay.
So Dad rode when he was younger, and my grandfather was a racehorse trainer here in Mackay.
Did you have a time when you were young, and just sort of think back where you really had a good learning experience with horses? It might have been something that you're supposed to do or something that you shouldn't do. Can you think of anything there? Maybe your father or your grandfather told you something, or you did something with a particular horse and you still learn it. You still think about that today, and you still have developed a habit from what you've learned.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I've been doing it for as long as I remember. So I think just little things like that always come up. I think Dad's always put it into us that the horses always come first. So no matter what's going on outside of horses, horses always have to be your first priority. They're always there every morning when you wake up, and they're always there before you go to bed. And your first priority needs to be the welfare of the horses. Mm-hmm. So I think that's always been really set into me from a young age.
Yep. I think it's a good lesson to learn. It's a good thing to know that we've put them in a particular environment where we've made ourselves responsible for their welfare. So just remembering that is important.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Now, I know you're at uni and you're studying to be a vet. The coaching, the training, the riding, you've sort of put it all in together, haven't you? Was that always going to be the case? You're always going to be a vet, but you've got to do the coaching and the training and the riding as well.
Yeah, so horses they've always been part of my life, even throughout school. I always got used to juggling the horses with the schoolwork and everything. And it has. I wouldn't say it's always been a plan to be a vet. Obviously growing up, I had lots of different ambitions, but definitely towards the more serious end of my schooling, vet was always the path I wanted to go down. Mm-hmm. And so I've just found, especially with vet being quite a full-on course, having the horses to come back to the training and the coaching side of things while on that sounds it's a bit of a good release from study, I think. So just a bit of you time and just a bit of a break away from the books.
Yep. Yeah. And there's a lot of people who want to get a vet, who call out a vet. And, some small animal vets are excellent at what they do. But if they're small animal vets and they come out to see your horse, you know that they're a small animal vet looking at your horse, and this is from a client's point of view. If you want someone to look at your horse, you want a horse vet. You want someone who understands horses, who can do stuff with horses, who can lead your horse, handle your horse. They know horses a little bit better. And I'm sure you would have developed more knowledge around horses from just your father and your grandfather than the time that you're spending at university. You find that there's certain things that you already know. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like you say, there's a lot of things to pick up on from the people around you that give you at least a bit of an idea of the basics of it. But then obviously going to university, it really drums in all the really important stuff behind the basics.
Yep. So if you're going just to work with horses, to be a coach, to be a trainer, a rider, what sort of skills do you need? What sort of person do you need to be?
I think you have to be very determinate. Just because how we said you get through all the hard times, and I think you need to have a lot of respect. I think that's a really of great importance. So by respect, I mean not only respect for the horse, but also for your fellow competitors.
Yep. So
no matter who you are or how successful you have been, there's always going to be a chance for you to learn more. And for that reason, I believe that respect is the most important trait to have, along with willing to learn and wanting to do what you do.
What about the people who might have helped you? You've talked about your father, your grandfather. Is there anyone else that you'd like to talk about?
I think I've had lots of great coaches over the years. My family's obviously going to be the real driving point behind me. My dad, my mum, especially my sister. My sister's always there behind the scenes, giving me a lot of help.
Yep.
But I've had some great coaches over the years, like David Finch. I've learned a lot from David Finch, not only with the riding side of things, but the coaching aspect as well. And there's many more I could mention. But there's definitely been a lot of people there always helping me out.
Yep. I love it when people, it often happens that people recommend someone or say someone's helped them, and we've already had them as a guest on our show. So if people would like to find out a bit more about David Finch, they just go to horsechats.com, search for David or search for Finch, and they'll find that. Now, what about horses, TJ? Have you had particular horses that you think they've influenced you, they've really taught you a lot, you've learned a lot from them?
Yeah, so I've been very fortunate to have a lot of great horses over the years. Starting from a very young age, I was very fortunate to have a lot of really good ponies growing up. I think from the ponies, one pony that stands out to me in particular was probably my first really serious competition pony, Belina Parkdale Pete. She taught me definitely a lot on and off the lead. She was, just kind of once in a lifetime pony. And then I was even lucky enough, my first Galloway, Colwich Vogue. She's definitely one of the all-time favourites. But I think she sticks in mind for me because she was a bit of a challenge here and there, but that's what kind of made it worthwhile. And I was lucky enough to have a lot of success with her. And then another horse that really sticks out for me is Lois, just my first show jumper. That just really changing the disciplines, giving show jumping a go. It was great having. She was a bit of an older man, been there, done that. But it was just really good having that kind of horse there, and I learnt so much of her. So I think in hindsight, Lois would probably be the one that I learnt the most of.
Okay.
Just going from a discipline that I was comfortable with.
What sort of things? Yeah, you say you learned the most, but what sort of things are you learning from these horses?
I think just just learning how if you need to put the work in to get the results kind of thing. All those horses I mentioned, Tony, the Galloway, they were I needed to do the work on them. I didn't click with them the first time I kind of rode them. I had to really work at it. And I think just getting the results from the work you put in, I think they just really showed me the importance of putting the work in behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And especially Lois too, the show jumper, I think she really just taught me going into another discipline, just really taught me that sometimes even when you do everything right. Like, it's just not your day sometimes, but you just got to keep persevering. And if you keep persevering, like, you will get the results eventually.
Okay. And also, too, if you're a competitor, you don't just go out and compete, but you put the work in at home as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What do you think's the best thing about working with horses, working in the horse industry?
I think the best thing is just the love and enjoyment you get out of it, like the partnership you get when you have with the horses, the opportunities it gives you, like the people you meet. I think that all just comes together, like just a mixture of the competitive side of things and the social side of things, and then just having the opportunity to like travel to places around Australia and around different countries, like just doing what you love. I think that's the best thing about it.
Okay, so have you travelled overseas with horses? I know you've competed around Australia. What's the furthest you've gone?
Yeah. So I've been fortunate enough from a very young age, I think grade 6, to ride over in New Zealand for the Bailey family.
Yep.
At the Christchurch Royal and South Island Grand National shows. So I've been very fortunate enough to go over there. And that's like I was saying before, like the opportunities of meeting people. So I met them and they asked me to go over and ride for them, and I rode for them for a number of years. And I got a really good friendship out of that. And then eventually when I wasn't competing over there, I was still over there working with them because they run the Grand National shows. So I was over there working with them as a ring steward. So still having that involvement as well.
What do you think they saw in you that they offered those opportunities? What I'm thinking of is people could say, oh, you're lucky, but is it luck or is it something that they saw in you when they first met you and invited you over there?
I think what it was just back when they first met me, was back when we had quite a big team of ponies. They met me at Brisbane Royal.
Okay.
And I think they just saw how my family and I worked together, how they saw the work behind the scenes, like working the ponies together, make sure they get in the ring, like the effort that went in before you actually went out in the class, and obviously getting the reward by good results in the classes from all your hard work. So I think they just saw like the big picture of things, like
yes,
they saw the work behind the scenes to get to that last outcome.
Yeah. So they saw you working as a member of a team, putting the work in, and not just taking all the glory.
Yeah, I think so.
Now, if you're coaching someone, think about, if you go to teach people, if you go to do a clinic or something, what's a regular thing that you find that people don't know? How can you help people? A training tip, what people can do to improve their riding or their horses.
Oh, well, a training tip, as funny as it sounds, I've always been a big believer in, especially when you have your coaches there, and more importantly when your coaches leave, is like you're going to always get those days where everything just clicks and everything feels good. So I'm a big believer in, once you get off after having one of those days, that it's really important to write everything down. I think you felt things you did differently, just as a bit of a mental note. And then that way, on the days that you're having trouble and like nothing's going right, you can look back at those notes and like it's a bit of just something for you to refer back on to.
That's actually, I'm writing down that tip myself, so I must be, yeah, that's good. I think that's good. And I think that we all have days when things just don't go as well. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So to look back and think of something more positive, I think that's a good one. And what about for horses? Is there something that you think is a training tip where people can improve the relationship with their horse?
I think just keeping a really level head, like just knowing that at the end of the day, like they're not robots, like you're sitting on an animal that has a mind of its own. So like you never know, like one day they might wake up and they might be sore somewhere or have a headache or something, but they've got no way of actually telling that to you. So I think it's just important about keeping like a level head and just assessing every situation, just knowing that at the end of the day it might not just be the horse's day as well, kind of thing, and not to get too caught up on having a bad ride. Like just keep working on just keeping a plan in motion, just keep working towards that plan and just reassessing everything all the time.
Yep. Good. If you're an equestrian coach or a horse riding instructor, or even if you aspire to be one, have a look at the free video series for horse riding instructors on the Horse Chats website. Go there now, have a look, horsechats.com. What are you doing now though, TJ? You know, I know you're at uni, but have you got any young horses coming on, any competitions coming up? What's your plan beyond uni, you know, just to do with your own horses?
Just with my own horses. So, yeah, at the moment I'm home from uni, and yeah, I've got a couple of nice young horses that I've got coming through. Mm-hmm. At the moment, it's mainly, my work mainly is just with clients' horses, so people sending horses and me working them for it. My plan is like beyond uni, obviously having the uni there, like I'm gonna have hope to have a future in vet, mainly working with horses. But then at the same time, I want to have on the side of that, like still be actively involved with coaching, having a business where I train my own and other people's horses, and just really just have a string of it, like quite a good small team that I can still go to the comps and thoroughly enjoy it.
What about clients' horses? The ones that are sending your horses now, are they problem horses, ones that they don't have time for, ones to bring on and educate? What's the main reason that they send your horses?
Yeah, it's a bit of a mixture. I've got a few at the moment that are just people that just haven't had time to do. They've had other commitments, and some people are even looking to get rid of the horse, but they're just sending it here, just asking my opinion on what I think about it and what I think it's good for. Then obviously, you get the ones that are the trouble horses that people are just having trouble with and just want a second opinion. Or you just get the ones that simply are really good horses, have the training there, but the people just don't have time to work on. So they send them here to be worked, and then they get sent back for a competition or something, and the owner sits on it for the competition, having had exercise and fitness done for it already.
Yep. Well, that's good. And good to know for people if they do want to do that. I'll talk to you about your contact details in a minute, just in case people would like to send any horses to you. But just summing up your philosophy with horses, how would you do that if you talked just generally about that?
My philosophy of horses, I think, really refers back to the quote I mentioned earlier. I just think everything in life is not going to come easy, and there's always going to be setbacks. But if you know what you want to do and know where you want to get, have a love of what you are doing, you will eventually get there. Even though there's going to be times where you think you won't get there, if you just keep putting in the hard work, eventually you will get the results from it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Good. Now, if people would like to contact you, Thomas or TJ, what would you say? They can go to horsechats.com and search for Thomas, search for Madigan, or just go horsechats.com/Thomas Madigan. But to contact you direct, if people want to do that, what's your phone number, email? What's the best way?
So phone number is most probably the easiest way.
Yep.
So yeah, I can give you my
please.
phone number now.
Yep.
Yeah. So my phone number is 04 23 72 48 45.
Perfect. All right, TJ, great to talk to you. Good luck at uni. I think you're in fourth year now. Is that right? Going into fourth year?
Yeah, going into fourth year now.
All right, well, we'd like to talk to you again sometime soon. I'm sure you've got some extra tips for us. We can sort of go a little bit more in depth in some area. And, yeah, good luck. Good luck with that, and we'll catch up with you again soon.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for having me.
Now, if you're still there, you probably know that I'm absolutely passionate about education within the horse industry. That's why I host this podcast. My other venture is Online Horse College. Have a look now at onlinehorsecollege.com, and I'll see you over there.
Remember that our comments and instructions are general in nature and do not take into consideration your individual horses or your individual ability and circumstances. If you enjoyed this podcast, then please leave your comment below.